All right, friends. So welcome back to number two of this is I guess DeFi Weekly. So just as a brief recap, what this is like at summer, we are always sort of talking amongst ourselves in our chats as well as just internally around what's going on in the market, what's going on in DeFi, what's happening on summer, what's happening in the broader DeFi landscape. So this week, I'm just going to go through the basic things and then also going to address a specific request from one of last week's viewers, which was what's kind of the difference between Summer and some of our quote unquote competitors. So we'll also discuss that briefly. So um, first, what are prices doing? So basically, we have gone up quite a bit from last week in the majors. So I think we were around 63K last week this time. So yes, we were about even less, about 60K uh, only a week ago. So we've been trending in the right direction. Yeah, almost 12% up since about a week ago, or a week ago exactly. So that's great. That's interesting in and of itself. Obviously, there are some bigger or smaller movers. Looks like BTC is leading again, which is pretty interesting. Especially given the things that have been happening with Wrap BTC and stuff. So if you want to borrow against your BTC on summer, um, you're gonna have to use Wrap BTC, which is interesting in and of itself. Um, so that's the first thing. Then what has been happening in terms of big movers? What's been going up the most? What's going up? Been going down the most? So if we look at the biggest movers here, FTT, which is interesting. I think that must be have something to do with the maybe the estate stuff that's been going on. So that's pretty interesting. Aptos, Celestia. Um, but this is 24 hours. Let's look at in the last week. What's been, yeah, okay, interesting. This is a much better picture. So last week, I remember Nero, this one was up there, number one. So that's obviously been going down. Cats in a dog's world. I think these are kind of meme ones. So they're easy to go up and easy to come down. Now, ones that stand out to me are, of course, Athena. This is something that you can farm on summer by looping your SUSDE exposure. So if you go to summer, you'll be able to use do this through a yield loop. So really simple, just go yield loops, go stablecoin strategies, and then bang, you have a bunch of SUSDE Athena options where you can earn a very attractive yield. I said it last week. I'm going to say it again. I think that these are really slept on, like 17, 23% with this amount of liquidity. Even 16% with this amount of liquidity is very attractive, in my opinion. So that's not financial advice, but yeah, that's really cool. So yeah, that's very interesting to see Athena doing that because you can get a nice yield and you can also farm a token that's clearly trending in the right direction. Yeah. Now, other things: WorldCoin, Mog, Tia, Aptos. These are big names, definitely, and projects with substance, certainly some substance behind them. So that's interesting to see those moving in the right direction. Um, that's giving sign to me at least of a more healthy probably market. Mog is a meme coin, so yeah, that's also pretty interesting as well. So now on the other end of the spectrum, what's kind of been moving in the wrong direction the last few weeks or last week specifically. So biggest one is helium here. So I'm not sure what's been going on there. I know that's a deep in project. So maybe it's just, not sure. You'll have to look into why that is moving in that way. Uniswap, obviously, about a week ago exactly, there was the announcement of Unichain. So I think that this is likely the the hangover of the announcement news. And then, of course, MKR has been trending in the wrong direction as well, which I'm obviously, they did the Sky rebrand. And again, this is something that you can do on Summer, so you can have the ability to farm. Let's say you have the ability to farm Chronicle points as well as Sky Rewards. So Sky Rewards is basically a one-to-one, well, not a one-to-one, a 1 to 24,000 mapping, but they're interchangeable. So you can, I guess, farm MKR/Sky at a low price, which is maybe beneficial for you. Perhaps that's also something to do with the why the token is going down. If there's this sell pressure of people ostensibly farming and then dumping the token that they're farming. So not sure, but that's yeah, love to see MKR trend in the other direction. So those are the bigger winners and losers. Looks a lot similar to last week. So not sure if that's good or bad. If maybe it's good because the ones that are going up are keeping going up, and the ones that are going down are staying going down. So yeah. Now let's take a look at more underlying data. So the ETF flows. This seemed to have stalled out quite a while ago, but looks like it might be trending back in the right direction. So, wow. So this is when was this? This was the 15th. So only a couple of days ago, where we had a huge net flow day. So that's great. And then a little bit less. But yeah, that's awesome. So looks like we're getting some big net inflow days, um, which is really positive. So that's great to see. And it looks like that day was a lot, 21 shares on, yeah, that was the 15th. So yeah, okay. So that was, majority of that was 21 shares in Fidelity and Bitwise. Wow. Okay. So that's awesome. That's interesting to see. That's cool to see. So yeah, really nice. So maybe that's a new trend of the Bitcoin ETFs flow coming back. So that's also great to see. Um, all right. So now let's look at the ETH ETF flow. So last updated 36 minutes ago. Okay. So yeah, now with when it comes to ETH, yeah, the flows have been a little bit less. Well, not a little bit less, quite a bit less. So that's a little bit disconcerting. It looks like it might be starting to pick up a little bit here, but no huge inflow days like BTC. So that's probably a little bit of a cause for concern, maybe, but we'll see. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Um, well, that's good to keep an eye on. So new address growth for ETH continuing to go up. I think it's better to look at the last 6 months where it's been relatively flat, just like trying to linearly going up a bit, which is maybe one of the problems that ETH has been seeing, like this new user growth. Like why should new users come in to use ETH these days? It's kind of a big question. Although I am a big believer in the sort of reflexive nature of price goes up, brings new users in, which makes price goes up. So price is the sort of the driver, but that's just my opinion. BTC new address growth also stalling out a bit. over the past little while, which we also saw last week. And Solana, let's see. So they had a pretty nice run up here again last week, which I know last week we spoke about what happened here, like what was that big cause, and then yeah, looks like they had got another nice spike last week of new users coming into Solana. So that's maybe bullish Solana. So that's also pretty interesting. So now let's look at the MVRV, which is the market value to realized value, which is a pretty nice on-chain indicator. And I like looking at the long-term one. Generally speaking, obviously, it's you want to buy the bottoms uh, and sell the tops, which doesn't really happen in practice, at least not for me. But um, this is sort of a good indicator to how overheated are we, or how yeah, what's going on in that regard. What's the market looking like in that regard? And looks like we're not very overheated at all, which is a good sign. I think we're definitely in the early innings of something, which is great. That's great to see. So doesn't mean that there can be more downside, obviously, but it doesn't look like we're overheated here at all. So it looks like dips are to be bought, which is a positive sign. All right, now let's look at funding data. Um, I love to look at this one, which is funding over the last week, and it looks pretty not overheated at all, for the majors at least. So again, that's just another sign, I think, that we're not really in a super overheated environment, which I think is nice, even when we are seeing the price move up quite a bit. So let's now look at DeFi yields. So always good to know what is the sort of risk-free rate in DeFi, what is that you can expect, and of course, same as last week, no changes. It's 6.25% on your SUSDS, which is, of course, cash on cash yield, in terms of you're not farming anything, you're just getting USDS, which is a stablecoin, in return for staking your USDS. So, and that's from the Sky protocol. And that is sort of, obviously there are risks in DeFi and risks in smart contracts and things like that, but that is the sort of the rate that you should expect to get or beat, basically, in DeFi today. For USDC, it's significantly lower, I believe. Actually, no. So, I mean, it's variable because it's using Aave deposits. So in Aave right now, it looks like you can get around 20% on your USDC, but very, very, very highly likely that is going to drop precipitously. Which is part of the name of the game of with USDC base yields, is that it's not super predictable. When the sort of Sky yield is quite predictable. Now, what else is going on in DeFi when it comes to yields? Is what's going on in terms of ETH? What should you expect when it comes to ETH? So the median ETH, um, well, that's the median yield. I realized the other day somebody pointed out that this actually doesn't change relative to what you put in here, but the median yield in DeFi is actually quite low relative to the sort of benchmark or risk-free rate, which is which you can get from Sky. So Yeah, I mean, but in my opinion, when you look at something like ETH, the risk-free, quote unquote, yield that you should be looking at is, of course, the staking yield. And with Lido staked ETH, it's just under 3% today. So, of course, I'll point out here where I think you can do a lot better than that on Summer is basic yield looping. So, again, really easy. Just go to yield loops, go to ETH derivatives, and probably want to sort by liquidity because you will need a bunch of liquidity, generally speaking. And you can, do 2 times better on Spark, for example, or more than 2 times better on Aave using CBETH. Or so, yeah. I mean, these are fairly straightforward trades to put on, especially on Summer, where you can just do them in, you can do them in one transaction, really. And it's great. I mean, yeah, it's pretty easy to do. So yeah, go to Summer if that's something that interests you. Um, yeah, and now let's see for ETH. For BTC. It's quite a bit lower, I'm pretty sure. Which is, yeah, it's very low for BTC. It should be interesting to see what transpires with CBBTC and stuff like that. So maybe that's one topic we'll discuss next week. Um, for stables, it's going to be hard to beat Sky. So they don't have Sky in here just yet, but it would probably be one of the. It looks like probably the best right now, which is incredible, because it looks like the change in SUSDE was quite a bit higher. SUSDE was quite a bit higher last week, and this I highlighted it last time, but I'll do it again this week, which is the lazy summer protocol that will be released next year. Is, and you can check it out at lazy.summer.fi, is, this is what it's all about, is being able to, last week SUSDE was, significantly higher. But you're not going to have to worry about that with Lazy Summer, because you'll have exposure to all of the best yields. You don't have to be in one and then it changes in a week and you're like, shit, right? So yeah, that's sort of what's been going on in DeFi in terms of yields and stuff like that. In terms of farms, there have been other farms, of course. Again, on Summer, there is the Chronicle Points farm that's going on, which I again highlighted last week. So we'll have to I'll have to change what I'm talking about at some point. But looks like it got a little bit more liquidity after that, which is yeah. These Chronicle Points are farming the points for Chronicle, which is a Oracle provider, um, which is a really important piece of infrastructure. And it should be interesting to see like how the market is going to comp that, because today the only other really Oracle provider with substance is Link, with a market cap of just under 7 billion, and a fully diluted market cap of just over 11 billion. So yeah, if the market comps that with Chronicle, then Chronicle ostensibly could be much more valuable than Maker, which it spawns from. So that's pretty fascinating. But they might need to create a Link army of their own. So yeah. All right. So that's one of the new-ish farms. We spoke about Euler and Barrel last week, but I haven't found any new ones since that. Things that are interesting or going on in Summer is more or less a lot of the same stuff as last time. I would just highlight, of course, multiply and borrow, just as prices have been going up. So, not to say that that's maybe the best time to chase things or anything like that, but the value of ETH, if you hold it, is going up, or the value of your BTC, if you hold it, is going up. And if you want to get even more exposure to that, it's really easy to do that on Summer in a one-click fashion. You got a bunch of different automations that can make it even safer and easier, to take advantage of the market volatility. And then, of course, borrow, which is kind of the bread and butter of DeFi in a lot of ways, which is if you have ETH or BTC or whatever, and it's going up, um, and you want to borrow against it, we offer that really easily and seamlessly. Again, with a bunch of automation tools to make it safer and easier to play with in the volatility. So yeah, that's pretty cool. The borrow rates you saw there are generally about the same on Summer right now, around 5% to borrow, which is also indicative of the market that it's probably heating up a little bit, but not overheated at all. Um, so yeah, that's probably, yeah, borrow rates, and you can easily see that on Summer. So if you want to borrow ETH and you want to, of course, borrow stable coins against that ETH, it's really easy to just see, hey, it's around 5%, right? It's around 5% to borrow. On all the major protocols, they're sort of coalesced on that as the market rate to borrow. So what else? Long, short. So do I have any longs today? I think a long, I will say, is actually a project and a Substack. So as someone who's very interested in finance and tech and stuff, but don't really have a professional financial background or something like that, which is fitting because this is not financial advice, is um, I really like the Substack. I really like the Substack Dirt Roads. And this person, I believe, also has a project called, M0, um, which is pretty cool. So I think that would be the project that I would highlight this week. Is M0. I think maybe we'll go do a deep dive on one of these like protocols, specifically M0, because it seemed pretty cool. And then, of course, the blog or Substack, I guess, Dirt Roads has been very helpful for me. So, yeah, I think these are my two longs this week. And if I were to give a short, I'm going to be short people who are short MKR this week. I don't think that's going to turn out too well for them. I think I'm still optimistic about MKR and Sky and Maker and stuff. So maybe I'm biased. I probably am biased. So yeah, and yeah, that's basically that. So lastly here is the sort of give get. So on these, we like to have a thing where we give you something, anybody who's listening to this, anything within DeFi or that you've been listening to or whatever. Mine is actually this week going to be a book recommendation that I heard on the Blockworks, one of the Blockworks podcasts from this guy Santiago, that he recommended, that I ended up picking up and starting to read, which has been really, really, really good. And it's called Missing Billionaires, and it's a book about investing. But the main driver, I would say, is it's a book about not just what you invest in, but how much you invest and the risks that you take on when you think about investing in certain things. So I would say that this is my um, this is my give for this week. I think it's very much worth checking out. Um, and if there's one sort of quip that I think that sums it up really nicely, um, is that sizing is more important than entry, which is very counterintuitive. If you like, you want to buy the thing at like you want to buy ETH in the pre-sale, you want to buy Solana at $1 or whatever, which is very would be great, but that's entry. And what is even more important is sizing. So yeah, how much you decide to invest, not just when you decide to invest. So yeah, this is my give for today. And if I were to say one get or one ask, so to speak, it would be just to go to Summer and to check out Multiply, actually. So I think I've said it 100 times, but this is obviously not financial advice and stuff. But I think we're getting into the stages where we might take off and we're not going back. So yeah, I think over the next week, month, whatever, I think it would be good to investigate Multiply and whoever you are, and if you own ETH or wrap BTC, especially, I think it'd be good to check out Multiply. So that's my ask. So thank you so much for listening to the second DeFi weekly, and I'm not sure what we'll name this one. Maybe round two or something. But yeah, thank you.